Vitamin A. This nutrient plays a central role in vision, especially in low light, since it helps form the pigments inside the eye that allow the retina to respond to dim conditions. It comes in two main forms, one found in animal foods like liver, eggs, and dairy, and another found in colorful plants such as carrots, sweet potatoes, and spinach, where it appears as a compound called beta-carotene that the body converts into usable vitamin A. Beyond eyesight, it supports the health of skin cells and the lining of organs, and it helps the immune system recognize and respond to infections. Sailors and explorers in earlier centuries sometimes suffer from night blindness during long voyages with limited access to fresh produce, a problem later traced back to a lack of this very nutrient. Because it can be stored in the liver, taking in far too much over time, particularly from supplements rather than food, can lead to toxicity, which is why food sources are generally considered the safer route for most people. Vitamin B1, also known as thiamine. This vitamin helps the body convert carbohydrates into usable energy, a process that keeps nerves and muscles functioning properly. It is found in whole grains, pork, legumes, and seeds, and it tends to be lost during the refining of grains, which is why many countries require white flour and rice to be enriched with it afterward. Its discovery is tied to a disease called beriberi, which became common in part of Asia, once polishing machines began stripping the outer husk from rice, removing the very layer where thiamine was concentrated. Once researchers connected the missing husk to the illness, the link between diet and disease became far clearer to the scientific community. Thiamine is water-soluble, meaning the body cannot store large reserves of it, so a steady supply through food is important, particularly for people who consume alcohol heavily, since alcohol interferes with its absorption. Vitamin B2, known as riboflavin. This vitamin has a distinctive yellow-orange color and plays a key part in breaking down fats, drugs, and steroids within the body, while also helping convert food into energy at the cellular level. It appears naturally in dairy products, eggs, lean meats, and green vegetables like broccoli and spinach. One curious trait of riboflavin is its sensitivity to light, which is why milk today is typically sold in opaque cartons rather than clear glass bottles, a packaging shift made partly to protect this nutrient from breaking down under sunlight. A deficiency can show up as cracks at the corners of the mouth, inflammation of the tongue, or sensitivity to light in the eyes. Because it works closely with other B vitamins in energy production, riboflavin rarely acts alone, and its effects are often intertwined with the broader B-complex group. Vitamin B3. This vitamin, called niacin, supports the nervous system, digestion, and the health of skin, while also assisting in turning food into energy the body can actually use. It can be obtained directly from foods like poultry, fish, and peanuts, but the body can also manufacture a portion of it from an amino acid called tryptophan, found in protein-rich foods. Its history is closely tied to a disease known as pellagra, which caused skin rashes, digestive troubles, and mental confusion, and which spread widely in communities that relied heavily on corn without preparing it in ways that released the nutrient properly. Traditional practices in Mexico, where corn was soaked in an alkaline solution before cooking, unknowingly protected against this deficiency for generations. Niacin is also sometimes used medically in higher doses to help manage cholesterol levels, though such use is typically supervised, since large amounts can cause flushing of the skin. Vitamin B5. Referred to as pantothenic acid, this nutrient earns its name from a Greek word meaning from everywhere, reflecting how widely it appears across different foods, including meat, avocado, whole grains, and mushrooms. It plays an essential part in producing coenzyme A, a molecule the body relies on constantly to break down fats and carbohydrates for energy. Because it is present in so many common foods, true deficiency is quite rare under normal circumstances, and it tends to surface only in cases of severe malnutrition. Some skincare products include a derivative of this vitamin, often listed as panthenol, valued for its ability to help the skin retain moisture. Researchers have also studied its role in wound healing, since cells involved in tissue repair depend on the energy pathways that this vitamin helps support. Vitamin B6. Known as pyridoxine, this vitamin is involved in over 100 different enzyme reactions, many of which relate to processing amino acids, the building blocks of protein. It also plays a part in producing neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers that allow brain cells to communicate, which links it to mood regulation and cognitive function. Good sources include poultry, fish, potatoes, chickpeas, and bananas, making it fairly accessible through an ordinary diet. During pregnancy, this vitamin has drawn particular attention for its role in easing nausea, and it is sometimes recommended by doctors for that specific purpose. Unlike many other B vitamins, taking excessive amount of B6 over long periods, especially through supplements, has been linked to nerve damage, a reminder that even beneficial nutrients carry limits. Vitamin B7, commonly called biotin. This vitamin supports the metabolism of fats, carbohydrates, and proteins, and has become widely recognized in recent years for its association with hair, skin, and nail health. It occurs naturally in eggs, nuts, seeds, and organ meat such as liver. Interestingly, raw egg whites contain a protein that can bind biotin and prevent its absorption, which is one reason nutritionists have long suggested cooking eggs rather than eating them raw in large quantities. True biotin deficiency is uncommon, since the body requires only a small amount and gut bacteria can produce some of it internally. Its popularity in beauty supplements has outpaced the scientific evidence behind it, since most research supporting hair and nail benefits applies specifically to individuals who are already deficient rather than to the general population. Vitamin B9, known as folate when it occurs naturally in food, and as folic acid in its synthetic supplement form, this vitamin is essential for creating and repairing DNA, which makes it especially important during periods of rapid cell division, such as pregnancy. Leafy greens, lentils, asparagus, and citrus fruits are all rich natural sources, and the vitamin's very name comes from the Latin word for leaf. Public health efforts around the world have pushed to fortify foods like bread and cereal with folic acid after research revealed that adequate levels early in pregnancy can significantly reduce the risk of certain birth defects affecting the spine and brain. This discovery reshaped prenatal care guidance and led many countries to introduce mandatory fortification programs. Because folate is water-soluble, the body does not store large amounts of it. So consistent intake through diet remains important, particularly for women who are pregnant or planning to become pregnant. Vitamin B12. This vitamin, called Cobalamin, is unique among vitamins because it contains a mineral, cobalt, at its core, which gives the compound its name. It is essential for forming red blood cells and maintaining protective coating around nerve fibers, and it works closely with folate in processes tied to DNA production. Unlike most vitamins, it is found almost exclusively in animal products such as meat, fish, eggs, and dairy, which makes a particular concern for people following vegan diets, who often eat fortified foods or supplements to meet their needs. Absorbing this vitamin depends on a substance produced in the stomach, and as people age, their ability to produce this substance can decline, sometimes leading to deficiency even when dietary intake seems sufficient. Left unaddressed, a long-term shortage can lead to a type of anemia and, in more serious cases, nerve damage that may become difficult to reverse. Vitamin C. Also known as ascorbic acid, this vitamin is widely recognized for its role in supporting the immune system, though its responsibilities extend much further, including production of collagen, a protein that holds skin, blood vessels, and connective tissue together. Citrus fruits, strawberries, bell peppers, and broccoli all provide generous amounts of it. Its most famous chapter in history involves sailors on long ocean voyages, who often developed a disease called scurvy after months without fresh produce, suffering from bleeding gums, joint pain, and extreme fatigue. In the 18th century, a British naval surgeon conducted one of the earliest controlled experiments in medical history, discovering that sailors given citrus fruit recovered while others did not, a finding that eventually led the Royal Navy to supply lime juice on its ships. Because humans, unlike many animals, cannot produce this vitamin internally, getting it consistently through food remains essential throughout life. Vitamin D, sometimes called the sunshine vitamin. This nutrient is unusual because the body can produce it on its own when skin is exposed to sunlight, specifically ultraviolet rays that trigger a chemical reaction beneath the surface of the skin. It plays a major role in helping the body absorb calcium, which makes it central to building and maintaining strong bones. Fatty fish, egg yolks, and fortified milk provide dietary sources, though sunlight remains a primary way most people meet their needs. In regions with long winters or limited sun exposure, deficiency becomes more common, and in earlier centuries a shortage caused a bone-softening disease in children known as rickets, particularly in crowded industrial cities where soot-filled air blocks sunlight for extended periods. Because it behaves more like a hormone than a typical vitamin once it is activated in the body, researchers continue to study its influence on areas beyond bone health, including immune function and mood. Vitamin E. This vitamin functions primarily as an antioxidant, meaning it helps protect cells from damage caused by unstable molecules known as free radicals, which can accumulate through normal metabolism, as well as exposure, pollution, and sunlight. It is found in nuts, seeds, vegetable oils, and leafy greens, foods that also tend to be naturally rich in healthy fats, which helps with absorption since it is a fat-soluble nutrient. Its protective role extends to cell membranes throughout the body, helping maintain their structure and function over time. Interest in this vitamin grew substantially in the 20th century as researchers explored its potential connections to heart health and aging, though later studies tempered some of the earlier enthusiasm, showing that high-dose supplementation does not always deliver the benefits once assumed. For most people eating a varied diet, deficiency is uncommon, since the vitamin is present across a wide range of everyday foods. Vitamin K. This vitamin is best known for its role in blood clotting, acting as a necessary ingredient in producing proteins that allow wounds to seal properly rather than bleed excessively. It exists in two primary forms, one found abundantly in leafy green vegetables like kale and spinach, and another produced by bacteria living naturally in the human gut. Newborn infants are often given a vitamin K injection shortly after birth, since they enter the world with very low reserves and their gut bacteria have not yet had time to establish themselves. Beyond clotting, researchers have also studied its involvement in bone metabolism, since it helps activate proteins that support bone structure. Because it is fat-soluble, absorbing it properly depends on the presence of dietary fat, which is one reason leafy greens are often recommended alongside a source of healthy fat, such as olive oil, to make the most of what they offer.